Okay, we are looking at our spot coloring assignment where we are going to take a black and white adjustment layer and we are going to use the layer mask associated with that in order to block out specific areas that we want to see the color. So in this instance, this is an example where we would see just the girl's dress and the color that's available to that. Now, under here, you've got 3 different images, and you only need to choose one of those images to edit. Let's see, I should have an example here. Image 1, 2, and 3. So either of those 3 images will be just fine. Looking over the exact tasks, there is also not only the tasks that I've provided, but additionally, these tasks that I've put the URL up for, exactly what we're doing here in class. And if I skip down, the nice thing about this website is they give you specific examples and point where everything is. So in case I'm going too fast in a video, you can look at the information that's here. Now, what I'm going to do today is I'm actually going to edit using Photopea instead of Photoshop because I know that there's a couple of differences there, and I just don't want those who are using Photopea to get confused. Think about which one I want to do here. Let's look at this one, for example. Yeah, that'll be fine. So I'm going to use this one. And the first thing we're going to do is go down, grab an adjustment layer, and we're going to use black and white. Now, we could technically use a gradient map, but the gradient map, it's something we've already looked at. So what I want to do is check out a brand new adjustment layer. Now, according to what you're using, you'll see that this controller here will totally change based on how you slide it. So, of course, the reds, she's wearing a red dress. Yellows aren't affected too much. You can see there's only a little bit of green in there. I'm going to pop that out a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to boost this contrast a lot. You can see if I bring that cyan down, it gets really dark. So in this image here, I like that a little bit brighter. You also got to think about the fact that we are going to be editing a specific area. This highlight is a little bit much for my personal taste, but you can see when I turn the color off there, that's all based on the cyan, I bet. Yeah, so that's why we're losing so much of that. So maybe I'll bring it about here. Personally, I would probably throw another adjustment layer on there and brighten that up, but we're not doing that today. Okay, we're going to grab our brush tool and a couple of specifics here. First of all, we cannot start using our brush until we make sure that we are on the layer mask associated with the adjustment layer. If you click on the background, that's bad. What will happen is you'll start painting on your person, and we don't want that. Let's check our brush settings for a second. So I want to kind of vary my size of my brush, and I can do that on my own with the left and right bracket. But I'm going to take this hardness down. I think in the tutorial it says to 0%. I find a little bit more precision with about 20 to 50%, but that's just my personal taste. And I'm going to zoom in with Control or Command plus. Okay, here is what we need to know. We want to paint with black, and when we paint with black, I'm going to hit right bracket on my keyboard. We paint with black, you can see it's bringing in the color, but it's bringing it in on the layer mask. If I switch, there's a little toggle right here. If I switch to white, then what will happen is I take that color out. All right. On Photoshop, there should be a little toggle arrow kind of where I'm pointing right here. That will be what switches things back and forth. Now, I'm just going to go around her dress and paint a little bit too large. And I'm going to purposely kind of like miss some areas. and then I'll come back and retouch those up. Okay, so let's talk about editing this to make it look a little bit more precise. From far away, it doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty daggone close. But I'm going to zoom in here, and we're actually going to get a little bit more detailed. So we're going to block some stuff out. I've started switching back and forth from black and white by using a quick command on my keyboard. And that quick command is X. So if I paint too much in or out, I can simply hit that X key and it switches from black to white. So using that right now, white will block items out. I'm bring my brush up with right bracket. And I'm just basically going to go around this outline as long as my hand is very precise. And I'm probably going to change the hardness, make it a little bit less feathered there. And you can see the edges are starting to kind of block out a little bit more. So you've got to be more precise, otherwise you'll get some pretty gross lines occurring. It'll look really fake, and that's the last thing we want to do in Photoshop is make stuff look fake. Not that this isn't, realistic editing. Fantastic. All done. All right, if we wanted to do some more editing on this, say we wanted to go back and look at our channel, we could make some adjustments, but for the most part, this looks pretty good. I think everything looks sound. All right, whenever you're finished, make sure you go File, Export As, and turn in your final work as a JPEG. If you are working on Photoshop, you can go File, Save As, and then change the document type to a JPEG instead of a PSD file.